All right, guys. Welcome in, y'all. It is time to talk some juicy stuff tonight, y'all. Barbie is still doing well in the box office, as well as Oppenheimer. Barbenheimer is killing it, y'all. Killing it so far. Also, you see the thumbnail. What's going on with Wonder Woman 3? What the heck is going on, man? Gal Gadot saying it's not, it is happening. Then James Gunn didn't even say anything. James Gunn hasn't said a word, but the trades came out and said that sources close to the situation say it's not happening. Who knows, guys? We're gonna wait and see and find out, because this DCU is already a mess and it hasn't even started yet. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But guys, I'm not going to make it wait too much longer. I'm going to get my host with the most in here, Loretto. What's going on, man? Good to see you. How are you?
Oh, feeling spooky, feeling spectacular on this stupendous Sunday. Had a long weekend over at Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Spent some time with some best friends from high school and created a lot of good memories, man. I'm ready to talk shop.
Ready to talk shop, man. Sounds like it was a good weekend, bro. I'm glad you had fun at Lake Tahoe, baby. Man, yeah, I went to a jazz concert. I almost want to call it a festival, but a little jazz concert this weekend, and it was nice. Had a nice little wine tasting going on, some cheeses and such, some free food. Shoot, it was fun, bro. Had a good time. So I'm glad we both had a great weekend. And the DCU, man, feels like it's already in shambles. Feels like things are already people are already acting up. So we'll wait and see just who was right with their information, Gal Gadot or the trades, apparently, because that's what it seems to be against. But guys, we're going to head on over to our first segment, y'all. Guys, it's time to rate your hype 1 to 10, these upcoming movies. And actually, there's only one TV show this time, but we're going to rate 1 to 10 every single TMNT theatrical release. I didn't put Turtles Forever in there, so I'm TMNT versus Batman, didn't put that in there. But everything that was released in theaters, we're going to go through those, guys. But we're just going to start with our one TV show with the Continental, which, heck, we got a great look at the Continental at SDCC. I mean, I didn't even feel the need to watch the trailer, bro, after they dropped 4 clips on us at San Diego. So honestly, let's just talk about, based on the content that we saw, how do you feel, man? What did you think about the Continental from what we saw at Comic-Con a few weeks ago? We saw quite a bit, so I don't remember every single beat, but the stuff that they showed looked very promising, man. What did you think?
I think they've done a good job of capturing the spirit of the films, the quality as well. We saw an extended sequence in a staircase with some really tight choreography, brutal action, and from the John Wick franchise, we would expect nothing less. Forgive me, man, I can't remember the name of the guy who's playing Winston, but he's definitely got some charisma to him. I think that's going to be promising, and despite the controversy of Mel Gibson, I mean, he is a fine actor despite his other stuff that he does. So he should be a pretty good bad. And apparently, according to director Albert Hughes, we should be in store for that final part is just 50 minutes of just pure action, and I'm here for it, man. I'm looking forward to that. And as a fan of the Hughes brothers myself, I'm excited to see what he's got for us. I haven't seen some work from him in a while, so.
Man, I can't wait, bro. I mean, as soon as he dropped that little piece of news on us that we'd be getting a 50-minute long action sequence, I just can't wait. Like, I thought, Peacock, I questioned the quality, but I mean, people are actually loving Twisted Metal. So, I mean, maybe Peacock is going to be a big player in the game coming up soon here, because I mean, with Twisted Metal being unexpectedly good for people, this looking so rich and just at the quality of John Wick, I'm really feeling it, man, just from what we saw at Comic-Con. But we got Josan in the comments. DC so far not making sense for me. Corn Sweat Superman, but Gadot as Wonder Woman. Yeah, it's been very, very confusing, man. Not sure entirely what the actual plan is with that one, man. But low 1 to 10, how you feel about the Continental?
Oh man, honestly, as a fan of the franchise and just from the awesome footage we saw at Comic-Con, I'm at a solid 8.5 for sure.
Nice,
There's a little bit
nice.
of there's a little bit of hesitation, but I mean everything I saw so far looks great, so I look forward to it.
I'm gonna be real with you, man. If it wasn't Mel Gibson, if in it, I'd be at a 9.5 out of 10. To be real with you, but I don't know, man. I feel like we could have went with somebody different. So that bumping me down to a 9 out of 10. Not that it bumps me down too far, but I'm just like, I don't know about that. I don't know. We could have went with somebody different. You know, that's just kind of how I feel there. But honestly, the choreography looks at the level of the movies. It looks like they're dedicated to bringing the same exact experience to Peacock. So honestly, I can't wait for it, baby. Let's move on to some Ninja Turtles, baby, because we got some stuff to talk about with these movies, man. We didn't end up going through the series, so we're just going to kind of quickly run through what our ratings 1 to 10. Hey, got that Mikey one. So I got like a Leo one now. But like, it's just a little too hard to put on. All right, dude, I can't really put this on. Look at how close the circles are.
I feel like that scene in Django, it's like the eye holes are too damn small, man.
Right? It's like, man. Oh, man. But yeah, this first one, bro. I'm kicking it right to you, baby, because I know you love this movie. Tell me about your childhood with TMNT, baby. Like, let's hear it, man. I know you love this movie. 1 to 10. TMNT, the original 1990. Where you going, bro?
It's a 10, baby.
Straight
it's
up 10, baby.
I love the grittiness. I love the bond between the brothers. I think it was Judith Hoag from Halloween Town as April O'Neil, which I didn't figure that out until like years after the film, which is pretty awesome. But Elias Kostias as Casey Jones, one of the most
Iconic,
definitive versions of Shredder ever put to film. He's intimidating. He is a force to be reckoned with. We talked about this last time. He beats the hell out of our turtles, man. He sends them to the shot, bro. Sends them to the floor. Actually, he just knocks them all on their asses. It's just such a fun picture, man. It really captures the grittiness of the comics, the goofiness of the cartoon, and it really blends it into a feature film that is honestly, in my opinion, it's underrated in the canon of like comic book films. It's one of my favorites, and it's endlessly rewatchable for me. That's a 10, baby.
Endlessly rewatchable, baby. Endlessly rewatchable. Wise men say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for pizza. One of my favorite quotes of all movies, anyway. Love the personalities of the turtle on screen, but the looks of the suits, they hold up so well from the 1991. We'll get to one later where I don't quite agree.
Shouts out Jim Henson, man. R.I.P. He's just a mastermind.
Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. But I love the suits. I love the look of the film. I love just every aspect of this live action first, really just the first big TMNT movie that launched it all. Now here we are getting we got another movie like this. Movie just launched us into it, man. Master Splinter was great. The end battle on the rooftop between Splinter and Shredder was so cool. How he throws him into that little garbage compactor, and Casey Jones is like, whoops, turns it on. Didn't quite do it right though, apparently. But yeah, I love the film. Watched it over and over as a kid. This one's Secret of the Ooze, two great ones, man. We'll talk a little later about the one after that, but those two, so good, man. I'm going with a 10 out of 10 for this one as well. All right, we want to move on to TMNT 2, Secret of the Ooze, where we actually got us to open a fight scene. But honestly, man, Secret of the Ooze, let me have it low. 1 to 10, where are we going?
Again, this one is endlessly rewatchable. It's so much fun. Shouts out to my boy, Ernie Reyes Jr., holding it down for Filipinos on screen, man. It was like him and Rufio. There's not many to choose from, but Ernie Reyes was great as Kino. And fun fact, he was actually I think he was the Donatello suit actor in the first film. And then in the second film, Secret of the Ooze, they got him to get him out of the turtle suit. So yeah, so he's an excellent martial artist. And this one, it's not as good as the first. It's a little goofy. parents were complaining about children using samurai swords and stuff like that, so they didn't really get to use their weapons really. So there was some weird
Donnie's
stuff.
using, or Mikey's using a yo-yo in the beginning, and
Right.
and he's just kicking people. And
I love how he does the nunchucks with the sausage links. That was brilliant. You know, but yeah, this one's a little bit more goofy. It's a little corny in spots, but I mean, just as a fan of the Turtles, it's still a great time. And shouts out Taka and Razor, man. Seeing these big mutations on screen, I was kind of hoping for Bebop and Rocksteady, but Taka and Razor are totally great in their own regard. We got a big ass dog and a snapping turtle. And also shouts out to Shredder dealing with his babies. You know, they were looking at him like he was mother, and I thought that was brilliant, you know. So and also shouts out, yeah, mama. Also shouts out Vanilla Ice, you know, he had the iconic Go Ninja song.
Go Ninja, baby. So
yeah,
good.
man. So it's a great time. I give this one a solid 9. Solid 9.
Yeah, man, it's a great follow-up to the first one. It's fun. It is goofier for sure, but it's goofy, I think, in a good way. It brings a lot of fun and a little more campiness to the Turtles that I really like. The suits still look great. Even just the animatronics and the way that they move, so good. Like, it's just such cool movement with the Turtles. Like, what's cool about the first 2 films is like they do more with less. So there's not all this movement all the time, but when they are moving and mobile a lot, like, it looks believable. Like, I could really enjoy it still. And the look holds up so much. The iconic Vanilla Ice song, the great, funny little fight scenes without the weapons. Still a blast of a time, bro. This one, I'm going with a solid 8.5 out of 10 for this one. I really like Secret of the Ooze. One of my favorites. But we got to talk about what happened, man. We're on this high of like, man, 1, 2, so good. And then they decide to kick it to the past and go back to a Samurai Shogun era where, I'm going to be real with you, Lo, I feel like halfway through the movie when they find Donnie, or they find Mikey in the past, I was like, it could have ended right there.
Yeah.
Like, the movie could have easily ended with them finding Mikey, they're reunited, but nah, we want to drag it out a whole other hour. Just goofy. I mean, the one scene that you were talking about with Casey Jones with the guys from the past and the hockey stuff, that is a funny joke, but like, oh, this is so bad, man. Let me know what you think about TMNT 3, because easily the worst out of the 3.
It's an interesting concept on paper. And again, when I was a kid, I had the VHS tapes, so I watched all 3 of them religiously, but this one was definitely a step down. The suits are really bad in this one. You could tell the budget was really tight with this, and they spent most of their budget on the Japan stuff. So the suits suffered. I think the main takeaway from here is I like the relationship between, I think the kid's name was Yoshi. The relationship between Ralphie and Yoshi was pretty cute. That was nice. It was kind of interesting seeing a Renaissance, whatever, 1800s version of Casey Jones. We do get some Casey Jones, but it's not quite Casey Jones. It's like the ancestor of Casey Jones or something like that.
Like, what?
And, you know, I thought it was kind of funny having the Shogun thinking the Turtles were like demons and like some kind of like samurai spirits. That was cool. And like the samurai masks they were wearing was really, really wicked. But honestly, it's just super corny, and it's really some of the acting's kind of cringy. And
I don't know why they had Splinter. Well, I know why, but Splinter up in that window just cracks me up, bro. He's up in that window the whole damn movie, just posted up, perched up in that little window, like spitting out advice, like it's not for free.
Yeah, and I think that was another thing. I think the step down in the animatronics and the suits really hurts the overall enjoyment of it. But I think just as a Turtles film for fun, you know, I'll give it like a 5.8. Like, it's not all bad, but it's definitely not one of the best.
That's not bad. 5.8. That's a decent score. If 2012 is in there cutting my meatballs, what? Respect went up. Y'all brought in Ninja Rap. Oh yeah, always gotta call in that Ninja Rap. Give us the legendary trench coat and the hat with Raph, man, and that first one's so good. Yeah, this one, lots of problems. It sounded like it really felt like that script was written by like a child. Like I was like, wow, I really feel like these lines are like they let a kid write the script. Really, that's how it felt. At least with the delivery, with the lines, it just did not feel like a mature, more step up, if you will, in quality from the second one. It just stepped all the way down. Honestly, for me, I don't know, like a 4 out of 10, bro. This one is just not good, dude. Like it's not even enjoyable on a rewatch. I remember watching the first one, second one religiously. This one, so bad. I think this might be my first time since I was a kid, or second time maybe. I was like maybe first or second time since I was younger watching this one, and it bites, bro. It bites. But we'll move on to TMNT 07, which this one's kind of kooky. There's like some really good stuff going on in this one. I actually do like the animation. It looks good. I love the Leo and Raph storyline going on here. I love the battle between the two of them. And I think that like the animation of like the fight scenes and the fighting choreography was really well animated in this one. I just think the story is a little boring, and the who they used as the villain, those statue monsters, was a little out of nowhere, I think. And this movie doesn't know what continuity it seems to want to be in, because it's like, okay, there's a little bit of 03 continuity, there's continuity from the 90s Turtles. It kind of doesn't know what it wants to be, I don't think. And it's like it drops us into the middle of these Turtles, and it's like, all right, well, what are you continuing from? So this one is a little odd, but all things aside, animation looks cool. I like the combat. Chris Evans is a little kooky as Casey Jones, though. I think he can be a little goofy, but I did like April O'Neil in this one. I thought it was cool. She got some action. Okay, April, just like in the 03 series. So dug it. Didn't love it. I think I could go like a 7 for this one. How you feeling, man?
Yeah, man. Honestly, yeah, you're nicer than me, dude. I'm more like a 6.5. I just didn't care for the plot device. It was really a bizarre tale of an immortal man trying to revive his brethren statues, and it was just so out of left field. And there's so much other turtle canon to pull from, and I don't even know if this is canon, but it's just like it felt like it came out of nowhere. Sarah Michelle Gellar was fine as April. I didn't like Chris Evans as Casey Jones. I'm sorry.
Goofy, man.
Shouts out to Mako. All right, R.I.P. Mako. It was really cool hearing Uncle Iroh as Splinter. That was pretty cool, man. And yeah, like you said, I mean, some spots of animation initially it was hard to get used to. It was a little rough at first, and also I liked the Lawrence Fishburne narration. I kind of wish we got a little bit more of it.
Yeah,
and I think my biggest thing is we didn't get enough of the turtles kind of like, you know, being together and doing turtle things.
Mm-hmm.
I needed more of that, like, you know, seeing like Mikey skating and him and Donnie just kicking it in the sewer. But like, I just feel like we didn't get enough of that. And honestly, it's a really breezy, like 87-minute film, so it's not that long. Yeah, it just feels kind of rushed, you know. But so it's definitely not one of my favorites, but it's okay for what it is.
Sean Chandler said it perfectly on his channel. He said that it felt like a random episode from like season 3 or 4 or something, when they ran out of all the great villains in the first one, and they just were kind of like, I don't know. It just kind of feels super, super random. So yeah, it definitely doesn't like hit that same level as the first 2 TMNT movies, but it's not as bad as TMNT 3. Nestled somewhere right in the middle, where it's just like, we could have had a better story. We could even had Shredder. I mean, like, it was just kind of like, okay, the villains were like out of nowhere. So this one, potential, some decent animation. The Donnie, the Leo Raph stuff was really good. I like that a lot, but everything else, a little questionable. So
yeah, fight is probably one of the best in the series, but
yeah,
that's about it.
What's going on? The Lawrence Support says he needs a TMNT gift box. Man, it's a fun one. All right, let's move on to the next tier. Rating them 1 to 10. Let's talk about TMNT 2014. And I'm just going to get my hot take right out the way. I don't have a problem with the big Hulk busting turtle design. I just don't have an issue. I don't have an issue with their Hulk brothers. I understand that it's a little jarring and way different than how they would look elsewhere, because we see in Mutant Mayhem they're about the same size and width as April. So it's just like, okay, they're big, 7 foot tall, Hulk sized turtles. And Shredder is a transformer. How we feeling, man? I know you don't like that. Let me know what you think about TMNT 2014.
I think that film in particular was a very interesting misfire. You know, some of the fights are pretty cool. I like the voice acting from the brothers, despite the fact that they look like monstrous Doomsday slash BVS Doomsday slash Lord of the Rings cave trolls. But I didn't like Megan Fox's April. I didn't like them switching up the origins of her being like their master, and it was just kind of a weird way to tell the story. But I did like Splinter. I liked his fight with Shredder. Didn't like Shredder the Transformer. And I think the saving grace of that one is Ralph's big monologue when they're falling out of the building, and he's just talking about why he's so tough on his brothers, and sometimes he feels like he's not worthy enough to be one of them, and that's why he pushes them so hard. He wants the best from them, and he wants to be as good as them as he sees them. And I thought that was awesome. It actually brought me to a tear in the theater. But
yeah, same.
But other than that, though, it's like it's like at a 6.5 for me. It's not as good as the original film, but it's not all bad. So
yeah, I'm like, oh, Joe-san said, chill on Shredder. He looked good. He was like kind of like, so when I watched TMNT, the 2014 and Out of the Shadows, which is next, I kind of think this is exactly what Bay would do with the Turtles. Like, it kind of to me feels like, okay, the guy who did Transformers, yep, he's gonna make these big. It just kind of adds up to me. I really don't like the April stuff. I like you. I don't like Megan Fox's April. Like, okay, sure, she's attractive. That doesn't really matter to me in the grand scheme of like that character and characterizing April O'Neil. I just don't think it really worked. Also, yeah, the origin, tying them to the origin did nothing really for the movie. So I don't think it just plays hollow because nothing happens from it. They don't know her, so does it really matter at the end of the day? No. And then yeah, I do like Splinter Shredder's battle. Weird that Shredder gets switched up with the actor in the next one, so weird misfire there. Yeah, this one is like okay, but the next one, that Casey Jones in the next one is a goofball, man. But this one, I think I can. Yeah, like 6.5. I think I'm with you, man. I think I'm right there because I can't quite call it like a 7 or an 8, but I'm not gonna say it's as bad as a 6. Now, Out of the Shadows, believe it or not, I'm gonna just fire us off here with a 7, man. Like honestly, I thought it did improve on some things. What's up?
no, because like I thought you didn't like it the last time we talked. So cool.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Here's how I feel about Out of the Shadows. Got a nice another viewing. It's not bad. There's some improvements that are made on the first one. Now, the second one, the thing I don't really get is why did Johnny Knoxville not come back? Also, in the second one, I don't know, man. I don't know what they're trying to do with Casey Jones, bro. Like, what a goofball. I mean, I was just like, this doesn't feel like Casey Jones at all. He's just and goofy.
And one thing Casey Jones is not is a cop.
Right.
He's not a cop, man. Don't do that.
He's a complete opposite of like a cop. He's a vigilante taking on the streets. So super weird. Very odd that you would get Stephen Amell off the Arrow fame. You know, he's just killing it as Arrow at the time. And you make him this like goofball police officer. He's got all the skill set from Arrow. Bring that character over and basically copy paste. I mean, there's your Casey Jones. Give him a hockey stick instead of a bow. And you got your Casey Jones. But Very, very odd there. But Out of the Shadows, I think it does improve on some things in the first one. I'm going with a 7, man. How you feeling?
Hey, same exact score. I liked it so much more than the first 2014 film. I loved seeing Bebop and Rocksteady. I was
Yeah,
like,
they were great, bro.
that was the one thing from the original trilogy that I was missing, because Bebop and Rocksteady is like a staple. They're like Bulk and Skull to the Power Rangers. Like they're just a staple in the Ninja Turtle like lore. So I loved seeing them. Those guys were hilarious. Like, my man, hey, and they're like bumping bellies, and those guys were great. I loved it, and I loved the humor. It was really cool seeing the turtles in Madison Square Garden, like eating pizza in the rafters. That was awesome. I love the camaraderie in this one. Krang was a little like too much, like a little OP, but I mean, if they had to make him intimidating, that was one way to do it. He was really extra slimy, you know. But I also love the casting. I thought Tyler Perry was awesome as Baxter. I thought that was really funny. I liked his little goofy exchange with Megan Fox in the beginning. Again, I don't love her as April, but whatever. I mean, she did her part, and shouts out Will Arnett, man, the Eagle. He was pretty funny in this one. I liked him more here than the first one.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, in the first one, I felt like he was trying a little too hard, but he was cool in this one. And yeah, minus Casey Jones, I really liked what was going on here. I mean, it was kind of weird seeing Shredder kind of more of like the sidekick to Krang, but I get it, because, you know, Krang's supposed to be an interdimensional being with great power and all that.
Right,
so
he's like the step up of like.
Right, but it was kind of weird seeing Shredder as like a sidekick, you know. But other than that, I liked it. A solid 7 for me.
Joe-san saying doesn't mind Casey being goofy, but give him some sports weapons. Yeah, they just, who knows what they wanted to do with that. They wanted to kind of like modernize him, making this detective and all that. I was like, this ain't Casey Jones at all.
Yeah, no, and also I didn't care for his acting either. He was just didn't work. It just
very
miscast.
Strange.
Yeah,
very miscast, bro. All right, and our last one, Mutant Mayhem. I'm just gonna say it, 10 out of 10. I've talked about
10
this
out
movie
of 10
all the time, bro. I mean, I've spent enough time talking about this movie. I love the animation, the acting, the chemistry of the turtles. How you feeling, bro?
10 out of 10. Super heartfelt, excellent voice cast, heartwarming and fun. That no diggity montage is one of my favorite pieces of film in this entire year. It's just so cool. The match cuts,
so good,
the Avengers like rotating, and then the old boy style hallway fight. Oh, just so friggin' cool.
So good,
so
man.
Cool.
That paid off for them very well. That was maybe the most synergistic, best intercutting scene between the turtles they've ever done.
Yeah,
like that was
so
that
cool.
was incredible, man.
And also, it was cool. Like they were really like putting in the blows and like
man,
taking it to the bad guys. I mean, I don't know how parents feel about it right now, but yeah, it was a little on the violent side in that scene. So
hey, I loved it, bro. I'm like,
yeah,
let Raph get hit. Let Raph get his, y'all. Let him get his.
They were like knocking out teeth and stuff.
I was like, these kids are beating some ass, dude. What? Still haven't seen it, Joe-san? Come on,
get on it, Joe-san.
Yeah, I watched that one, Joe-san. It's good. One of the best of the year. Love that TMNT Mutant Mayhem. Yeah, man. I mean, one of my favorite of the year. It's in my top 3. Animation's been having a hell of a year when it comes to just great movies. I mean, we've had this, Nimona, Suzume. I mean, it's just been, and I know I'm leaving something out. It's been crazy, man. All right, guys. Lo, you ready for that next segment, baby? You ready?
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
do it. Oh man, we have a lot of hot, good stories going on today, and this first one is gonna be good to talk about, man. Let us know.
All right, guys. So last week we were reporting Gal Gadot heard that James Gunn was gonna work with her on Wonder Woman 3, and now we're getting conflicting reports. So supposedly Wonder Woman 3 is not happening. It's a confusing time to be a DC fan, and if you are a DC fan, you know how bad it's been. I mean, with Shazam flopping, Black Adam flopping, The Flash being one of the worst worst showings ever in this DCEU. they're in shambles right now, and this isn't helping. This isn't helping at all. I was actually kind of excited to see Gal back, especially if they reworked a really good story for this third film. But honestly, this is just so bizarre. And I know you're a big fan of Gal, Leo. What do you make of all this? It's definitely not helping the DCU, am I right?
Nah, man, and it's just making it look a mess before it's even gotten to start. Like, we're not even a movie into the new DCU, and it just already feels like a mess. Of course, I was hyped to get Gal back, yes, but I understand the take that it's messy. It is. I mean, you're not getting Cavill back. They brought Cavill back in Black Adam, and now he's gone again. It's just a mess. DCU really, they really need this year off to just shut things down.
They need to take a vacation.
Well, yeah, they're not going to release any movies next year. They only got Joker 2 coming out. I'm like, good. Close the curtains for a little while and maybe let's just keep on trucking. I don't mind Wonder Woman 3, but if it's not happening, then it's not happening. But the weirdest thing about this entire situation is James Gunn, where you at? I mean, like he's replying to all these comments and tweets of people asking questions about Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and all these other things, even the DCU stuff. Where you at now? It seems like a radio silence has happened all of a sudden in a crucial moment that we actually do need you to tweet and respond. So things feel a little odd going on with this. I just don't know what to really make of it. I mean, is it happening or not? Like, can we just get a definite answer is all I'm asking.
And I think to your point, you expect like a concrete answer, which we haven't gotten. So it just makes you wonder, like, did James Gunn not want this leak? Maybe he's trying to hide it, or maybe it's just this has gotten out of hand, and maybe the fire has spread already, and maybe he doesn't know how to put it out. I don't know, man. But
who knows, man? Who knows? It looks like maybe Joe-san ain't feeling it. Uh-oh.
Gunn he'd rather drink 40 Grimace shakes.
Jeez. Ain't that bad now.
I know. I was just saying, I thought some people liked the Grimace shakes, but
them Grimace shakes pretty good now. I haven't had one of those, so I can.
All right, but with a franchise that's in shambles, let's move on to something that is on fire, and I'm talking about #Barbenheimer. They have taken over the world. Barbie is the #1 movie at the box office for the 4th weekend in a row. $1.1 billion gross worldwide. $1.1 billion. Get a little Dr. Evil shout out.
Awesome.
Oppenheimer is nothing to shake a stick at either. They're an impressive 649, and I wouldn't be surprised if Oppenheimer gets pretty close to that bill, like maybe top out at 800 mil. So that's a very, very strong, healthy number for a film that's been #2 pretty much to Barbie for the past month. And just the fact that both of these films are doing so well, man, it's good to see. It's good to see original stuff like this shine. And did it save cinema? Maybe not, because the box office numbers are still kind of low right now. But you love to see this, though. I'm especially happy for Greta Gerwig. Being one of the most, this is the most successful film for a solo female director, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. #1 of all time. And it just continues to make more and more records. Now it's actually up 14% from Mario's 24-day point when it was 24 days out. So it's doing better than Mario was doing at this time. It's also at $1.18 billion currently. And I think it's number 25 of all time. I want to say it's number 25 of all time, #2 of this year. And it's just, number 25 film of all time. And it's catching steam on Mario real quick. I mean, I think Barbie's poised to beat it, to be honest. I mean, just to be in another, what is this, his 4th weekend and make like $33 million. That's a feat, bro. I mean, Barbie's doesn't seem like it's going to stop at all. And it makes me wonder, is Blue Beetle going to dethrone Barbie? Is that what's going to stop? Like, I'm almost like, what movie is going to stop Barbie? Dune? I mean, at this point, I'm just like, this thing is cruising through the #1 spot, bro.
Yeah, and it's definitely, it reminds me of Top Gun last year. It's just riding this wave, and the hype and the people dressing up and the phenomenon, everyone's talking about it. It's just definitely the film of the year so far, man.
Yeah, we got Tyler in the comments.
What up, Tyler?
Saying Barbie's making all the movies Zaslav thought the Flash would make.
I think he meant money, probably.
Money, yeah, I believe. But yeah, it's just, man, it's blowing through the box office, man. Blowing through it. Oh, Josan said Margot's feet got people watching. Listen,
Hey.
bro, some people into it.
Yeah, and honestly, her feet are like picture perfect. You know, that's what people are into. So, and in other box office news, shouts out to the Turtles. They had a pretty decent bounce back. They surpassed the Meg 2, and right now they're sitting at 94 mil. That's actually not too bad. I don't recall what the budget was for this, but I mean, it looks like it's definitely going to have what we saw with Elemental. I think this movie is going to carry into the summer. School starting for a lot of kids, but I think as the sole like family film to see, I think we're going to see a pretty healthy run here. So I'm happy for them. You know, we'll definitely get at least maybe 200 to 300 mil at the top, maybe a little more. We'll see. But I'm happy that it's starting to pick up a little bit. So are you surprised by this, Leo? Did you think they're going to bounce back?
Yeah. So, I mean, the budget was not 70 mil, and sitting at 94 mil is not the best, but I mean, hey, I'm glad to see them topping Meg 2 at the box office this week. They're coming in at number 3, right behind Oppenheimer. Meg 2 was at number 3 last week, so now TMNT is now dethroned it at the box office. That's cool to see. I'm wondering, because Meg 2, I think, is at like 200 something mil. So I'm wondering if it'll get close to that or even be at it. I don't know. I'm a little nervous for our Turtles, and I've said this a couple of times, but I just think that the TMNT franchise is suited for TV. Like, I think people, when they see the Turtles, are like, oh, it's like a watch at home type of experience. So I think you've got a good chunk of people waiting for that Paramount drop. And I'm wondering what the numbers on the series will look like. I'm sure it's going to be number 1 on Paramount, like, once it drops on there. But I'm wondering how that series is going to look like. Is that going to draw in some more eyeballs on debut days and episodic weeks than the movies, maybe? I'm curious.
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually looking forward to it. I can't wait to rewatch it at home.
Can't wait, man.
It is kind of interesting that, you know, before we even got the numbers for the film, I guess like they already greenlit a sequel. So
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of interesting, like to like
sequel
put that
and a
information out
TV
there.
series. Yeah.
Okay, so they're doing both. I didn't realize, but okay.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize about the series. So yeah, well,
Tyler saying the 2014 made almost $500 million. Yeah, well, it was the first live action Turtles outing since 1993. So it was like, people flocked to or 4 whenever 3 came out. People was flocking,
I was gonna say,
man.
like, when the Turtles were at the top of the world back in like the early 90s, it was legit Turtle mania, you know, and I think that kind of carried over into some of the newer incarnations where people were still coming out to see them. You know, maybe not so much for Out of the Shadows and for this film, but you know, there's definitely an audience there. And I think
sure.
director Jeff Rowe and Seth Rogen did a pretty awesome job of this version of the Turtles. So I can't wait to see more.
So excited. So excited.
All right. And apparently, speaking of the DCU, Blue Beetle has been getting some positive buzz. Again, I'm not a huge Blue Beetle guy, so I can't speak to, you know, the origins of his character and how well it compares to the comics, but I know you're a big fan, man. How do you feel about this? Do you think this positive buzz is going to carry over into a successful box office run? What do you think?
Man, I could only hope, bro. I don't know that the box office is gonna really carry, bro. I just, after the Flash, Shazam 2, it's just unfortunate that it seems that nobody cares. And it's unfortunate, but I hope this does well, man. That's all I could say about its box office performance. I just hope and pray that it does well, but I don't know that it will. But hey, I mean, I'm glad to hear the receptions were positive. I was happy to see that the receptions were really, really good for Blue Beetle. So I'm glad that reactions were positive. People were liking it, saying a lot about how it incorporates Latino culture and how it actually feels more self-contained than the other DCEU projects. So that's cool and all. I hope it can perform okay. I don't know if that it will.
I was gonna say, I mean, out of love for Sholo, right? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Sholo Marduena, our boy Miguel from
Hell
Cobra
yeah, out of love
Kai.
for Sholo, and you know, I'm definitely gonna be seated opening weekend.
Oh
We'll see
yeah.
how audiences respond, and you know, I did see a couple hashtags like, you know, don't sleep on the Latino community back in this film. So we'll see how it does. You know, it's gonna be how many weeks away? I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks out. So
We got next weekend.
oh, next week.
Next week. Yep.
There you go.
Or I'm sorry, the 18th. This week.
Oh, this
The
week.
18th.
Oh shoot.
Yep.
Yeah,
the
we'll
18th.
find out this week.
Yeah.
I'm
man.
rooting for it though. I'm rooting for it though for Sholo
Rooting
and for the
for it.
character.
Yes, sir.
I know there's a lot of fans out there. So
Man, I've liked Blue Beetle since I saw him in Young Justice years ago, and have read some comics. Really enjoyed the character. I just hope he can do well at the box office.
all right, switching over to the other cinematic universe for superheroes, Nia DeCosta says the Marvels is different from other MCU films, noting it's wacky and silly, which I mean, as if Thor, Love and Thunder, and Ant-Man don't exist. I mean,
Right.
we've been wacky before, and I hope that's not in a bad way. I really hope it's not in a bad way. I mean, I like the MCU better when takes itself a little bit more seriously and sure have a joke here and there. But yeah, this makes me kind of nervous. I don't want it to get out of hand. You know what I mean? But you know, from the trailer, we did see it looks like a Bollywood dance number somewhere in this film,
Mm-hmm.
which, you know, with Kamala Khan's background, like, that makes sense. But I just hope they don't do too much. And also, I know the interchanging of their powers is probably going to be a bunch of silly moments for sure. But you know, we'll see. I hope it's not all that. You know, because Love and Thunder was pretty rough. Admittedly, as someone that really, really liked Ragnarok, Love and Thunder was a little bit too much into the goofiness. So, how do you feel about this, Leo? Are you surprised by her saying this out loud?
Yeah, a little bit, but we got Tyler here. Finally, a wacky and silly MCU film. Oh man, wacky and silly from Joseon, a facepalm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's not loving
man,
it.
not loving it. The way that I feel, bro, is like the rest of the MCU has been wacky and silly. So I love to see the rest of the total film interview that this comes from. That
Sure.
magazine drops on the 17th, I believe. But yeah, I was just like, everything's been wacky and silly. Look at Quantum Mania. That was disappointingly goofy and silly, in my opinion. And then, yeah, Thor Love and Thunder, on the initial watch, I really loved it because I really liked Jane Foster's Thor. I still stand by that statement. But man, it just did not hold up on a rewatch for me, man. It was just overly goofy. There was a little too much on the humor this time. Like, I loved it in Ragnarok, perfect balance. I think Ragnarok stands at that perfect in between of the first two Thor films and then Thor Love and Thunder. Unfortunately, Thor Love and Thunder was one extreme, and then I think the other two, Dark World, just leaned a little too heavy onto the other stuff, onto kind of making it almost feel like Lord of the Rings. Took itself a little too seriously, but then I really liked Ragnarok. Ragnarok, in my opinion, was the perfect Thor movie, and yeah, they just over goofied it. But here, I think it can make sense for a couple of things. You got Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel's like that, she's like that Spider-Man like character. She's fascinated by superhero culture and really excited to be there. And so I'm looking forward to like that. And if we're talking wacky and silly in that sense, love it. I'm excited. I am excited for the three of them being on screen together. So it doesn't like kill my high or anything, but I am curious as to why that will be the response,
And also, I think Brie was very, very stoic in her past few appearances as Captain Marvel. So I actually wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind some humor from Carol Danvers. Kind of liven up her character a little bit, especially because, I mean, I remember I was doing my rewatch of Captain Marvel and she was just so like, the whole movie. Like, she was just grumpy the whole time. And It's like, Brie can smile and have fun a little bit. So we'll see. I like Nia DeCosta as a filmmaker. Like I said, but last time we talked about it, I thought Candyman was pretty good. Really one of my favorite horror films in the past couple years.
Good, man.
So I trust her. I just
Me too.
hope she doesn't. I hope she doesn't lean a little too far into the wackiness. So
yeah, it seems like it's gonna be fun. You're right, though. Carol has been so serious. It'll be nice to get a little comedy in there.
Yeah, I think the most like spirited like delivery she had was "Hey Peter Parker," with that little smirk, But I think that's the most she's ever given us. So moving right along, someone that I've soured on in the past year or so.
Sheesh, man.
Bob Iger says he wants to reduce the number and cost of Disney titles after several box office disappointments. Right now, we're talking about the Haunted Mansion. It's not doing well, which is unfortunate. I thought Haunted Mansion was a lot better than it deserved to be, or than people might give it credit for. It's a step up from the Eddie Murphy film, but yeah, Disney, they had Lightyear last year. They had Elemental kind of like open disappointingly. I mean, it's still making decent money, but it's nowhere.
Now.
Oh, it's doing okay now, but it's nowhere near the peak of Pixar. So yeah, Disney's definitely kind of crumbling a little bit here. They're kind of scrambling, and with all the things going on with what Bob said about the strike, I've kind of lost faith in him as a leader. And this move makes sense, but it definitely makes you wonder what's the future in store. What's in store for the future of Disney? So, what do you think about this, Leo?
Yeah, what are we doing? Well, and I will say at least he's concerned about the quality because there's been some disappointments this year. Ant-Man 3, very disappointing. Let's see what else. The Haunted Mansion, huge disappointment. There's been some blunders, and like you said, Elemental. There's been some stuff. Oh man, what's going on, John? Strange World. Joe-san, thanks for joining us tonight, man. Take care. But yeah, John, Strange World. That was a big one right there. Like the fact that just went so under the radar was very bad. And listen, while Encanto took the world by storm, it didn't take the box office by storm. So it became a phenomena. And I will say this, it at least sold merch, and I'm sure it sold a lot of things post-release, but it didn't do great at the box office. It's been rough for Disney. I'm wondering how Wish is going to look because if they got an original animated property doing bad after the pandemic.
And and I think that's definitely a part of the problem.
Reduce those live action remakes, says Tyler.
And you know what? Actually, what was the final total for Little Mermaid?
I can't recall. It's like a little over 500, I think.
Okay, so that wasn't too bad, but
let me see. 566.
Laser's in the house, and no, luckily we didn't get too much cake tonight, Laser, but thank you. Welcome back. And also I think, with, for example, Black Widow and Soul and Turning Red, I think that was very much a problem that they weren't giving these films an opportunity to make money in the theaters. Having it stream at home simultaneously was definitely, in my opinion, that was a bit of a blunder in itself. So hopefully they learned from that. And obviously we're kind of out of the pandemic now, but that definitely didn't help. I think that was kind of like the beginning of all of its problems where we're at now. So
yeah, they could have re-released Soul in theaters. I don't know if it would have done well, but yeah, it's looking rough for Disney. They had Guardians of the Galaxy sitting on the top 5 of the year, and then everything else just has been probably disappointing. Little Mermaid, though, the thing is that's going to sell a lot of merch and already has. So yeah, it's got that 566, but it's like in reality, it's probably somewhere like 800 maybe with merch and stuff.
Yeah.
Either way, like let's focus on the quality because Haunted Mansion really coming out in the middle of the summer. That's so random. Like, at the beginning of October.
What's weird too is the marketing for that one was definitely, it reminded me of Strange World because I didn't even realize this film was coming out until like a couple months ago, and all of a sudden they had a trailer, and I was like, "What? Where did this movie come from?" Like, there was just no push for it. So, I think
None. I
they're
mean,
they're feeling that. So
they were having a screening at San Diego Comic-Con, and like most of us just didn't even know. It was like, oh, there's a Haunted Mansion screening. Oh, okay. Who knows?
yeah, so we'll see. I think Wish is gonna say a lot about Disney's future, especially with their animation department. So it looks good though. I like the trailer, so we'll see.
We'll see.
All right, The Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbird and Snakes is reportedly 2 hours and 45 minutes. Is this too long? I don't know. I'm not really a Hunger Games guy. I can't recall. Was it Mockingbird? Was that part 1 and 2? Were those like 3 hours? Like Mockingjay?
I'm
I can't
looking
remember.
here now because I was like, all right, well, I put this story in. I was like, well, how long are the other ones? And they're like around like 2.5. Like, so Mockingjay part 1 is only 123 minutes, so that's like 2 hours 3 minutes, and then part 2 is 137. So these are like easily like 217 to like 230.
Yeah, and I was saying, I recall the first one being like relatively short. So, I don't have any skin in the game. I'm not a huge fan of this franchise, but I'm always on the side. Like, when we talked about this before, a film can be long. It just has to be good. It has to not lag. It has to not drag. It has to have quality filmmaking. So I think if the film is good enough, I won't mind it. But it is a little long. It sounds long on paper for sure. I know you're not loving it, Leo.
I miss the era of the 130, 145, 155, man. I miss that, man. Bring it back, bro. Half these movies are just like 20, 30 minutes too long. Bring it back. This is going to be the longest one in the franchise, and I don't know that it warrants it. It's not even like a main installment. I mean, like it's a prequel, but I don't know, man. I'm having flashbacks to Fantastic Beasts. I think that's where this might be headed, though.
Oh man!
But this is at least based on a book, so I guess
right. I was gonna say Crimes of Grindelwald, and what was the other one? Secrets of Dumbledore. That was not it. That was not it. But I will say this. As a fan of Rachel Zegler, and from what I saw in the trailer, it looks pretty decent. Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know what to expect. Again, I'm not the biggest fan, but I'll check it out.
Man, you wasn't eating up them Hunger Games books and stuff? Did you read the books?
Nah, I never got into that one, man. I mean, I got into Twilight, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, the first film was fine. I think it was directed by Gary Ross. It's pretty much battle royale with
it definitely is.
Minus the schoolgirl skirts and all that. But yeah, I didn't mind it. Shouts out to what's her name? Rue.
Wow. Shout out to Rue.
Well, that's the thing, right? And then
not even Katniss. He's just like, let me just shout out the young sister. Yeah, I like those movies a lot. I like the books. The Mockingjay movies are not as good as the books. None of them are really, but the movies are pretty good. Catching Fire was definitely peak of the franchise. That one was great. The second one, that one was awesome. But
yeah, and like the cast too, like Donald Sutherland, Stanley Tucci, Lenny Kravitz.
It's great.
Pretty decent cast.
Great cast.
Elizabeth Banks,
now
right?
J-Law has gone. Yeah, Elizabeth Banks was great. Now J-Law has gone off to do a lot more. Our boy Pete ain't doing much, but Jennifer Lawrence has quite the career. And then we'll see. We'll see. Rachel Zegler's cool, and I haven't read the book this time, so. John said 245 is giving blockbuster vibes, being taken seriously. Yeah, I need these movies to just let's cut it down. 2 hours for most of these. Most of these can be 2 hours, man. Like I just feel like most of them can be 2 hours, and we can get squeezed 2 hours out of them, man. Like, but y'all, I won't pull up the animation this week. I'll just real quick talk a little bit about Heart of Stone with Gal Gadot, and I'm not gonna take too much of everybody's time this time, but y'all, honestly, this movie was a worse version of Mission Impossible. And I'm saying that because there was this AI heart that they were trying to pursue, and this heart controls the technology around the world. So it's very similar to Mission Impossible. And I was like, okay, where are we going here? Jamie Dornan's in this, Gal Gadot, and then the woman who plays Sita in RRR, I don't quite know her name off the top of my head. And the director is the guy who created and directed Peaky Blinders. I've never watched that show, but I heard it's a phenomenal show. But this was boring. It was generic. The action was dark lit. It was hard to see fighting scenes. Like, all the fight choreography is a little hard to make out because it's so dark. The editing's choppy. It cuts away from blows. It's so choppy and it's just boring. A lot of ideas you've already heard before. Like I said, they're looking for this, or they have this heart. And it's weird because she's in an organization where they're like peacekeepers around the world, right? But she's also working for MI6, but MI6 doesn't know she's in this peacekeeping organization. So the story's already kind of overcomplicated. And throughout the film, you see a lot of overcomplicated scenes. The score, there's parts of the score that don't match an espionage movie. Like, this is supposed to be like a secret agent espionage type, and we got like a Wonder Woman like ballad happening in the middle of the movie. I'm like, all right, well, I love Gal, but that's not this movie. It just does not match this film. The action scenes are short-lived. Some of them are fun, especially the ones where we can actually see Gal's character fighting. Really cool. But a lot of it is really bad. Jamie Dornan as a villain was cool, but a lot of it's just really bad, man. So honestly, Tyler says Heart of Stone sank to the bottom of the ocean. Yes, sir. I gave it a 4 out of 10, and I'm still standing at that 4 out of 10. Love Gal. Barely gets any speaking lines. I'm like, all right, well, if we want to do the silent hero thing, go all the way. Have her killing people almost every other scene. Like, look at Extraction 2. Like, Chris Hemsworth had a 25-minute long action sequence in that movie. And then you go put out Heart of Stone where the action sequences were like 3 minutes. Come on, man. That ain't gonna cut it. So just not a well-balanced movie. Boring. Lots of technical errors, and especially for action films, technical errors. 4 out of 10, baby. If it weren't for Gal and Jamie Dornan, I'd be looking at a 2 out of 10. Woo. 2 of them are good, but oh, and the girl that plays Sita, I just don't know that actress's name off the top of my head, but she's in RR. She's great. But they even underplay that character because they kind of build up a rivalry between like her and Gal. They kind of build up a little bit of like secrecy behind that character, and then they just don't execute. Like they end up meeting up later in the movie, and it's just it wasn't good, man. It really was not good, bro. Like, Netflix, the land of hit or miss, because I've been watching Heartstopper lately, and I'm loving it. Okay, have you watched Heartstopper?
No, man, it's pretty good.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, Heartstopper. I was like, man, these kids are so in love. I'm so happy for them, and I just want the best for those characters because they're actually like warm and fun, and they're great characters, and the romance just feels so real. And it's nice to see a show where teenage couples and teenage love is depicted so nicely and kindly. You know, it's always like Euphorias, Degrassi's, and all that, where it's just always a bunch of drama, always a bunch of stuff happening. But here it's just 2 teenagers who are in love, and it's wholesome, man. It's wholesome. Heartstopper. Okay. Got my heart, bro.
Heartstopper check that out, man.
Great. But should we talk about Arrow, Mr. Arrow, Stephen Amell?
Oh my goodness. What is he doing, man? WTF.
Let me share my screen, y'all, for this WTF moment we got to briefly talk about here. Stephen Amell walking on the picket line, backtracking those comments. This man was all the rage last week talking about, I don't support striking. and standing in front of billboards for his show Heels, talking about it's a blessing to be in a show and panning his little cell phone over to the billboard. I mean, this man has been actively speaking against the strike, and now here he is at the picket
on the
line.
picket line.
What you think, man? Like,
I mean,
what do you think of this?
first of all, I was never into Arrow, so I didn't know who this guy was until he delivered that terrible version of Casey Jones we were talking about earlier. So no interest in him as an actor. And then he goes out and says what he said. I thought it was in poor taste. I thought it was awful to take that stance. And then him contradicting himself, being in the front lines all of a sudden, it's like, it's hilarious. It's definitely a fitting WTF moment of the week. What are you doing, guy? Like, it's the way he's flip-flopping, I just think it makes him look worse than he already did. So I don't know if this helps him or not.
For real, bro. His manager was like, bro, get on that line for a couple hours. Go get on that line, bro. Talking all that stuff. Get on that line. Yeah, take some pics. Cause
real talk. It looks like he's like posing. Like, you guys see me? We're good,
right? I'm here. He has like another picture, but I can't find it. Oh no. I can't find the other picture, but he had another one where he was on the line. He looked so tired. Like he was just like, please take me home. Like, I just don't want to be here.
Right. Does he even want to be there?
Nope.
Oh my goodness. He don't even want to be there.
Oh, John. Heartstoppers stopping my heart. It's good, man. It's good. And also just to see like positive LGBTQ love. Like, that's good too. Like, it's nice to see that as well. So great show, man. But yeah, Arrow, what are you doing, bro? Weird. And I'm kind of glad. This is going to be a weird comment, but I'm kind of glad it's like Stephen Amell and it's not like Tom Cruise or like if it was somebody like of a Tom Cruise like magnitude doing like saying stuff like that, that's very damaging. Yeah. That could really set back the strikes. That type of stuff is what will make Bob Iger and then be like, well, Tom Cruise said, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we wanna like have it be a Tom Cruise or like anybody to that magnitude. I'm just saying Tom Cruise because Mission Impossible just came out, but anybody of like that caliber, a Leo DiCaprio or a Brad Pitt, a Denzel Washington, like you don't want anybody of like a grandeur, a huge platform saying that.
Right.
So I'm kind of glad it's like Stephen Amell, like it's like, oh, that dude from Arrow, whatever. Like it's just not somebody like big that everybody knows.
Tyler said Steven looked like a kid who just got yelled at by his parents.
He does. He looks so like disappointed and defeated. Like his mom just screamed at him because he hadn't cleaned his room in 3 months. Like
I could hear his mom like, Steven, if you don't get on that picket line.
If you don't get on that picket line, Steven.
Oh man.
You got John saying, I hope Scorsese is supportive of the strikes.
I don't see why he wouldn't be.
So I figure
he's a champion of he champions cinema, so
right.
He's very supportive. I'd like to think he is.
Yeah, and some of them honestly like are doing the best by not saying anything, because it's just like something, any little but or whatever you want to add could be very damaging. So. And not to say that Scorsese doesn't support. I'm just saying any like little like tidbit of like, whoa, I don't know, could be very slippery. Steven looks like Angela Bassett's son after that Michael B. Jordan. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was horrible when he pranked her doing that. But yeah, like I don't know. Stephen Amell, he's a weirdo. And after that, I'm sure his manager was like, you need a job, bro. You don't go doing this. You want to stay on heels, don't you? But guys, we're winding on down, y'all. Quick little show today. Lo, man, let me know what you got coming up on your end of things and where the people can find you.
You can follow me on Twitter and Letterboxd at Marcellus Durden. I'm a proud editor, critic, and writer for The Cinema Spot. Check us out on all socials at The Cinema Spot and at thecinemaspot.com. Lots of great film reviews, show reviews. I think my boy John in the chat, he's got a long-running What We Do in the Shadows thing going on. Lots of awesome stuff. Check us out whenever you guys get a chance.
Definitely check them out, guys, when you get the chance. And of course, head on over to the main channel. We got lots of content coming up, guys. We got a couple of reviews. We got a review for Strays coming out this week. Also, My Adventures with Superman is still full steam ahead, and a couple more reactions on the pipeline, guys. So come on over to the main channel, Geekly Goods, and then here, come on back next week, y'all. Come on back, and we'll talk some more movie news, and we'll see you guys next week on Geekly Goods, baby.